All right, so let's add some clients using our add.php. So open up your add.php file. Again, this will just be kind of a skeleton with HTML, PHP, and all that. And now what we want to do is make this work with our MySQL database. So we'll start off with session_start. And let me just show you what the add page looks like. Here's the add page. Session start. And we want to do that same thing to check to see if the user is not logged in, because this is an internal page and we want to redirect them out of here if they try and manually go to the page. So if there's no logged in user, bring them back to the home page. That's what that is. And we're going to connect to our database, and we're also going to connect to our functions file using include statements here. So include includes connection, include includes functions.php. So those are our includes right there. And then what we want to do is check to see if the add button was pressed. So let's go down here and see what that add button looks like. So we have add right there. So if that was sent, then we're going to want to work with that. Now action needs to change again to the current page. So we're going to have to use the PHP echo HTML special chars PHP self. I've got that queued up and I'm just going to paste it in here. You can get it from any other forms that we've been working with in our entire section, or just go ahead, pause the video and type this out. That's just going to submit to the current page. And now what we want to do is check to see if the form was submitted, the add form was submitted. So if is set, and we're going to check to see if the post collection was sent with the add name in that array. And if that is the case, we're going to set all the variables we're going to use to empty by default. And we did this before because we don't want them to be able to enter any characters that might be hidden within the input. So we want to make them empty by default so we can do some proper testing. So we're going to say client name equals client email equals client phone equals client address equals client company equals client notes equals empty. That's going to set them all to empty. And now what we're going to do is check to see if the inputs are empty, create variables with the form data, and then wrap the data with the function that we included in our includes function right up here. So we're going to check to see using a few if statements here. So we're going to see if not post client name, and that just to show you where we're getting that in the post collection, we have the name, client name right here, client email, client phone, so on and so forth. Those are the input names that we're sending in the post collection here. So if not post client name, we're going to do the name error, and then we're going to say, please enter a name, not O keys. Whoops. Please enter a name and then a break tag. You probably recognize this. We've done this a number of times in the past. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste the rest of it because we've already learned this part, and you could just copy what I'm doing. And that should be good enough so we can work with the rest of what we're trying to build here. So we got the if client name, else client name, validate form data. That's the function that we're passing using the functions.php file. If not post client email, please enter an email. The reason why we're just doing these two is because these are required. The other ones are, remember, null in the database. They can be sent as empty. We just need the name and email as required fields. So the other fields that we don't need, we'll just store in variables without doing any validation. We'll just simply store them in these variables. So we have client phone, validate form data, of course, so we don't get any injections, and post client phone, client address, company, and notes. And that looks like this. So go ahead and type this out because that is how we're going to store the data from those inputs if they submitted anything. And now just to test to see if the name and email have data, we're going to use an if statement. And we're going to say client name and client email. So that's just saying if both of those have data. So they both have to have data for this to be to resolve as true. Let's create a query. Insert into clients, that's the table, and then in parentheses here, ID, name, email, phone, address, company, notes, and date underscore added. Those are all the things we added as columns in our table. Values, null, because we're not trying to reset the ID, and that just send in nothing. In a string, we're going to pass in client name, comma, the next one will be client email, The next one will be client phone. Remember, these are wrapped in single strings here. And then we have client address. And then we have client company. And then client notes. And the last one is just current _ time stamp. And that will just send the current timestamp. And close that with a semicolon. And then store a result. MySQL _query. Connect. And the query will be passed in. And now we're just going to do a simple way to check to see if the query was successful. And we'll just say if result, meaning if the result and the query worked. We're going to refresh the page with a query string using the header function here. And we're going to pass in location and then clients.php question mark for query string. The query string name will be alert equals and then success. And this is all custom. This could be named whatever. This could be just ID. This could be haha. This could be JK. It could be anything you want. But to make sense, we're going to say alert and success because we're going to pass that via the URL parameter. And then we can access that in our clients.php page here just in a moment. Else, this means something went wrong. We're going to echo an error and then concatenate our query so we know what the query is. And then we're going to add a break tag, concatenate the MySQL error so we could see exactly what's going on. Pass in the connection. Okie dokie. And then we want to, outside of all of our if statements here, close the MySQL connection. MySQL _close and then connection. Okie dokie. Save, save, save. Let's go to our add.php. Let's try and add a client. So let's say, add client. Let's see what happens. Okay, you have no clients. It just went straight to clients.php. And I'm assuming that's because the form submitted to the wrong place. Let's just double check. PHP self. No, it should be good to go. Let's try another one. Brad at Code College. Leave these empty. Okay, it worked. I guess maybe I didn't refresh my page. So Brad at Code College, and there we go. We got the query string. So now let's use this query string to our advantage to let us know that that successfully worked. So jump to our clients.php page, and all you need to do now is check the alert, check to see if the query string is available. So we're just going to go scroll right up to the top of our page here. And let's just store this after our query and result before the closing MySQL connection. We're going to check for query string. So we're going to say if is set, and then we're going to check the get collection, much like post, and we're going to look for alert because we passed that in there. And this is where we're going to have a few alerts. So right now we're just working with the new client added, but we're going to add more as we go through our application. So we're going to say new client added. So we got an if statement, and now we're going to check to see what the value is of the alert that was passed. So we're going to check get alert is equal to, so this is the value that was passed, success. So that's equals success. So if that was the case, we're going to have an alert message, and then we're just going to add that message that we always add with the alert and alert success div and just with some text. So I'll paste it here and show you div with the class of alert success, new client added. Then we have the data is dismissed with the times HTML entity, and that will give us that alert. So now, once you got that added, let's go check it out. I'm going to refresh with the alert success. Okay, and nothing. And that's simply because we only have some variables. We need to actually show this alert message. So all you need to do is go down below client address book, PHP echo alert message. Now that alert message will display. New client added. Nice. Looks great. Okay, so now what if we wanted to edit that client? So I click edit. We have the screen here that pulled up. If you look, the query string ID equals 2. And so how did that work? Well, let's go back to our edit.php page. So nothing is fancy in here, and this is all just dummy content. So it might have looked like it actually is editing a client, but this is all dummy content. But it's going to auto-populate based on the ID that you pass in the URL, and we're going to work on that coming up next.